Welcome back. When I was shooting the first video about the AYANEO Air, I had an idea about improving the performance of it. On a hardware side, there's really nothing more that you can do than install a bigger SSD, but that doesn't improve the performance. So what about software? So the SteamOS is a free version of Linux which supports Steam gaming. This is something that you should be able to install to pretty much any PC, and it did work even with the AYANEO Air. The installation process was quite simple. You need to download the image from the Steam site, install the image to an USB drive, and set the device booting from that USB drive. With the AYANEO Air, it wasn't so simple. The device has a 10 years old BIOS, and getting to the BIOS and changing the settings was not easy. I had to do a little googling to how it's done, but I got it to work. Basically, you need to set it to boot from a USB drive, and to do that, you need to disable the security boot. That is the only thing that is holding back from the USB boot. The installation was a slow and somewhat tedious progress. I thought multiple times that it doesn't work. The device kept keeping beeping sounds, the controllers were vibrating on and off all the time. Screen was only upside down. If you are looking to do this, get a USB cradle that has HDMI out and support for external USB ports, because you need something to input the information like a keyboard, and it's easier if you have a bigger screen. So if you know your way around computers, it's not that hard, but if you are a little bit uncertain, then don't do it. It wasn't that easy. Now that it is done, it is simply just playing the games and seeing how well they performed compared to the Windows installation that I had on this previously. One thing to notice before starting, I can't play all the same games that I did on the previous video. That is due to the fact that the SteamOS doesn't support external software. Like with Rainbow Six Siege, you need to install the anti-cheat software, and it doesn't work on SteamOS. And I played some games from Epic, and I haven't been able to get Epic working here. But hey, that's about it. Now let's get to gaming. All of the settings are set as low as they can go, so basically 720p resolution and everything as low as possible. Okay, so Tomb Raider gets about 30 to 40 FPS, so it's quite playable. Okay, Red Dead Redemption 2. So you need to install the Rockstar game launcher to be able to play Red Dead Redemption. I'm really positively surprised that it works this well, the installation process of an external software to SteamOS. You can see here from the bottom of the screen it always says that this is unsupported hardware, so that's the reason why it might not be performed as well as a real Steam Deck. Processing the Vulkan shaders 2%. This might take a while. Okay, so now a coffee cup and one cat later. Hey, that's mine. Yeah. Even on the lowest possible settings, the Red Dead Redemption 2 is really not playable, under 10 FPS. You shouldn't do this. Okay, moving on. Then some Witcher.
Exactly. In the forest or the mountains, sure, but here, near the main road.
Somehow this is even worse than the Red Dead Redemption. The settings are as low as they can go and I can only get 6 FPS, so yeah, the sun isn't shining on this game. No, it's not playable. Okay, what about Counter-Strike? Let's try. Okay, the menus don't really work well, but everything is set to low. You have to use the touchscreen to move around here. There are no sounds. Well, it's playable, but there's no sound, the image quality is really poor and the menus don't really work. I wouldn't recommend this. Moving on. Alright, then some Valheim. Settings are as low as they can go. It's giving steady 12 to 15 frames per second. Not really playable this one either. Shame, I really like this one. Alright, moving on. Alright, no control. Like before, the graphic settings are low as they can go. With 720p. 11 to 15 frames per second, not really playable. Alright, now some Aragami. Setting the graphic settings as low as they can go, I get about 25 frames per second, so this might be playable. It goes even up to 30, so it's playable. Alright, moving on. Alright, now some Ion Fury. Okay, this works fine, I just don't know how to play this game anymore. Okay, so as you may have noticed, the performance is not as good as it is with the Windows. So installing a SteamOS, the AYANEO Air is not something that I would recommend. It doesn't improve the performance, it mostly decreases it. The reason for that is that this device isn't purely supported by SteamOS, it says that it is unsupported hardware. That might change in the future. I know that Valve is evolving the software, so in future there might be more performance, but as it is at this time, beginning of 2025, I wouldn't recommend doing it. Alright, that's about it. Thanks again for watching, guys. See you later.